Hello and welcome to the Chop It Up Podcast, the show that's unfiltered and unapologetic. Each episode will bring you closer to finding your purpose. And for our loyal listeners, a special surprise awaits you at the end. Be sure to listen all the way through. Now, here's your host, Carmisha Superville.
Hey, you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Chop It Up Podcast. You guys already know, home of unfiltered, unapologetic conversation. I am so excited, you guys. You know, you hear me say this all the time, but I'm totally excited about this particular episode. As you guys know, it's still Black History Month, and we are still celebrating just the excellence, you know, and I had the opportunity during Fashion Week to attend a few fashion shows, and I had an exclusive invitation to attend such a beautiful fashion presentation by the founders of Yema. Listen, you guys, I am so happy to speak to these amazing millennials. You know, just listening to their story, it just made me so excited and made me feel so proud to be Black. And so I said, I want to have you guys come on the podcast and just share with our community, share with people that need to know about your story. So I'm so excited that they obliged and they are on this podcast episode that we are going to entitle The Black Celebration, The Black Experience. So I'm super honored to have them. They're in different locations. So I'm really excited that they were able to carve out some time for this conversation. So again, welcome back to the Chop It Up Podcast. Before we introduce our amazing guests, let me get into the bio. Okay, now we are speaking with the founders of Yema, a mission-focused clothing brand startup by two incredible souls. It's a romantic tale of a Kenyan falling in love with an Ethiopian refugee before uniting as one. They both met on campus, on the US campus, that is. And I'm so excited to hear this conversation. So Yema, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Yema Khalif, and I'm from Kenya, and right now residing in the Bay Area. And I'm gonna let Abby jump on board.
I know that's a lot. I had to make it romantic. Let me tell you guys why I had to make it romantic, okay? Listen, we just ran the analytics and we found out that we have 78% of female listeners. So y'all know I had to switch it up a little bit for the females. Listen, we're talking about Black love, Black excellence, and Black History Month. So I had to make it romantic. But you can tell us the backstory.
Yeah, sorry, I just blanked out a little bit because like I saw somebody was trying to get in the store. I'm in the store right now. So, pardon me if there's like a little bit of interruption here and there. But yeah, on to you, Howie.
That's okay.
My name is Howie Awash. I am the co-founder of Yema. We started out in California, but we just expanded into New York, which is why we had a presentation during Fashion Week. And yes, Yema and I met in college about 8 years ago, but we're going very strong, and we started our brand about 4 years ago after college. And our main mission was to help educate kids in Ethiopia and Kenya. So we were brainstorming on how we can do that. And fashion is such an important part of African culture and African heritage and Blackness in general. So we were like, how do we infuse fashion with education and create opportunities for kids around the world? We started out with Ethiopia because I'm originally from Ethiopia. I was a refugee in Kenya for a couple of years when I was younger, before moving to Minnesota when I was 8 to start school for the first time. So the first time I was able to go to school was in Minnesota, and I joined school at 4th grade. So I did not come from, educational backgrounds that a lot of kids have access to. And that was a privilege for me to be able to go to school. So education has always been a very important part of who I am. And it was something, sitting in a refugee camp that I would always fantasize about one day being able to wear a uniform, one day being able to join, friends and go to school and get that kind of opportunity. So through the brand, we've been very, very fortunate to be able to do that. And it's been, you know, we're social entrepreneurs. So it's been there has been a lot of challenges, but it's been such a beautiful thing to do, because it's more than just clothes and it's more than just fashion. It's more, and we're able to do something bigger, greater than ourselves.
Yes, I love that. And you said that so eloquently. That's why I wanted you to really explain the brand and the mission behind it. You know, part of the work we do here at the Chop It Up podcast is really amplifying, you know, mission purpose events and mission purpose entrepreneurs. And your story just resonated with me. And you guys, listen, it resonated so much that I spent over $40 for some socks. I've never spent $40 for some socks. Some socks.
Yes.
But I loved it, and I just really wanted to support, not knowing much about you guys. I just got the invitation and I literally just showed up, but I loved it, and I love your mission so much. So let's talk about the mission focus behind it, because, you know, last week, as we know, we're in New York City, it's Fashion Week, everybody's out, and, you know, fashion is a beautiful thing, but also as we speak about Black experience and Black history, you know, fashion, a lot of our fashion comes from us and from Black culture, but many times Black designers and within Black communities, we don't really get to monetize, right? At a higher level, we don't necessarily get to monetize the fashion industry or tap in, you know, to the business of fashion. So I love the fact that you guys are not only tapping into the business of it, but you also have the mission. Let me ask you, as we talk about mission focused clothing, do you see, is there opportunities for profitability? Are you able to see profitability? Now, I know you're still in the startup phase, but are you seeing a return investment?
You know, we're definitely hoping for that. And like you said, we are at the startup phase. But I feel like there is definitely a wide range of audience that you can appeal to. And I think that the way that, at least the way we do what we do, our clothing is not just about clothing or fashion, but it has a lot of meaning behind it. So in every design, we are communicating a message. We have our tagline, which is Good, Joyful, Human. That's kind of like what we, you know, channel and what we put out there. And a lot of the motifs represent love, unity, diversity. So I think people are definitely hungry for fashion that is more than just clothing, that speaks, that is made with quality, that is authentic, but also has a mission behind it. And 20%, that's a huge percentage to be able to donate to a scholarship fund. And you don't see that kind of initiative within the fashion industry. So I think for people our age and for people that are very conscious about how the world is right now, they want to be able to do something more. When they wear something, they want it to mean something. They want to represent something, right? So I feel like there is definitely that opportunity. And I think that's what we're trying to do with our brand.
I love it. I love it. I can hear you speak all day. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so eloquent. Yema, I would love for you to chime in. You're most welcome. What is your take on fashion and your brand, and what really separates you from the other brands that's out there with the same mission focus behind it? What really separates you guys from the competition per se?
Yes, for me, I see fashion as a form of expression, and also as a form of telling stories. So one of the other key reasons why we decided to start doing this, besides education, was how can we tell our own stories in a very authentic way, whereby nobody's telling the story for us, you know? So for instance, if you look at, you know, some of the motifs that we have in our clothing, telling stories of like 16th, 17th century Ethiopia, you know, the birthplace or the cradle of mankind, you know. So, you know, you see, like, you know, when you tell stories like that, people start understanding, you know, why we as Africans are proud of who we are, you know, why we as a Black people stand in our own truth, you know, and why do we, you know, command dignity, respect, love, you know, in our own being. It's because where we come from is rich of all those things. You know, we come from the royal bloodline. You know, we come from a people who are proud. We come from a people who want to put some, you know, a lot of positive influence into this world. So that's what the kind of stories that we are trying to tell with our clothing. It's not just, like when you think about Black folks, you think about poverty. It's not that when you think about Black folks, you think about, how can I give them a handout? No, we are not people, we are people that are raised, with pride and we know the kind of gifts that we have, to give into this world. So yeah, so that's how I see fashion, and that's how we represent ourselves, and those are the stories, and that's how we are trying to make sure that everybody that is rocking the brand, they know, they are beautiful people. There are people who are magnificent, and there are people who are here, because the Most High wants them to be here, and to enjoy their authenticity. So that's in a nutshell, that's what separates us from everybody else. It's the stories that we are trying to tell and who we are as a people. And also, we are proud to be Black designers, to exist in this space of a lot of big brands that are owned by everybody else. And, we are trying to see how we can cover a niche for ourselves, right? And we are trying to see, hey, it can be done, it can be done. So I'm happy to be here and to exist in this space, in this moment.
I love it. In this moment, to exist in this space and this moment, that is profound. To exist in this space and in this moment. So I had the honor of visiting your flagship store in New York City, in Soho. And so you explained to me the graphics, right? So you had imagery, right? So you had imagery, and you were starting to explain the meaning behind it. And I would love for you to tell our viewers a little bit about the background as to how you connected the imagery, right, from the photography that you showed me. And I know that many of you guys might be listening to this, but this is also on YouTube. So visually, you guys can see behind me, this is a piece of art. I just want to show you guys. So this is a piece of art. This is handmade. And this was contributed or donated by a Haitian artist. I work with I had the honor of meeting gallery, owner of a gallery, African gallery, and she travels around the world, whereby not only African, she visits Africa, she visits all countries, but mostly countries of color, right? So Haiti, Africa, and so forth. And she basically provides opportunities for artists to present their work in the US. And so this piece of art that you guys are seeing behind me is actually worth over $1,000. She donated this to me, and you guys can look her up, Luzerne Galleries. She is a remarkable woman by providing piece of support, right, for communities of artists who would not necessarily get that opportunity to come to the US to showcase their work. So she provides a proceed goes back home to those type of artists. So Yema, I want you to explain the piece of art that you showed me and the reason why you wanted to show, why you explained, like you pulled me in and you told me the reason behind it. And if you can recall, you mentioned that art that you're looking at right now, we wanted to show the imagery. Do you recall the conversation?
Yes, correct.
All right, so explain it to the people who are listening.
Yes. So we do like a runway fashion show in Kibera, which is where I was born and raised. And Kibera is like one of the largest slums in Africa. And the reason why we do the runway fashion show back at home to launch every collection that is coming up is because one, we try to give opportunities to the locals. They act as models, photographers, event coordinators, and like we provide jobs through that. And then number two, we also do that in order to showcase the beauty of the people living in this environment. So a lot of times when the Western media or the Western world come to Africa, all they want to do is to show poverty. All they want to do is to show trash. All they want to do is to show some big, some kids with some big bellies, with some flies in their mouth and whatnot. So that's the side that usually the Western media wants to show. But with our imagery, we have a juxtaposition of the two, of the beautiful people, which when you see one of the pictures that we have in our store, you only see the beautiful people, like walking a runway show, like everybody, like when you think about the runway show, the beauty of it and all the beautiful models, right? So you don't see anything else other than that. And then when you turn the camera, there is a juxtaposition between that image of the beautiful models and the environment that they live in. And the environment that we live in is usually what most of the Western world wants to show, because it's trash, right? So, and that's the story you're trying to show with that, is that, you know, there is a beauty, there is a resilient people, there is kind, joyful, loving people living in this environment. And if we choose to show the positiveness of this, that is very empowering to the people, because these are the people, you know, that we send to school, and these are the people that we give opportunities to, you know. So invest in them, they can change their living environment, and every human needs to be treated with dignity, you know. And everywhere around the world, you know, there is both good and bad. There is environments that are not conducive, you know, and then, you know, there's environments that are great, you know. So is Kenya. So that's the story that we're telling. So there's good and bad in both, but if we choose to show the positiveness, that's empowering to the people.
I love it. I love it. And that, you know, when you spoke about that, I was literally even thinking about Slumdog Millionaire, like that movie, you know, where where people only know or didn't even know that there were slums in India. And I'm so grateful that you spoke about that. So tell us a little bit about your clothing line. So I love the clothes. Like, I love everything about it. It's so expressive. Where did you guys develop the creativity? And like, you know, how was the creative process? Did this come from you guys, like both of you, or were you able to bring in consultants to really map out the creativity? And if you can provide any type of advice for budding fashion designers.
So the way the initial idea came about is I happen to be friends with a woman who loves fashion, and you know, she was into fashion a lot. That's Howie, and you know, and she also had a passion, you know, because we were in the Black Student Union on campus, so we did a lot of work together, and because she loved giving back, and I also loved to give back, because I was, you know, I got the opportunity to come to the US through a scholarship. I've always wanted to give back that opportunity. So we had the fashion idea, and right now the way we started like 5 years ago, and it was a concept whereby we can come up with like beautiful, beautiful expressive yoga attire. And that's what we started out with. And we were still in college then. And you know, this process is always about trying to find what speaks to you and trying to find what works, and also trying to find the kind of stories that you're trying to tell. So what we were doing 5 years ago is very different from what we're doing now. And it's through self-identification, and then it's through, you know, putting the mirror forward and then seeing what other people are saying and then seeing what you're seeing. And so it's, you know, we've evolved over time. And we've had to give ourselves that patience, and then treat ourselves with love and kindness, and not to rush through the process, because it's a marathon. And that's what we've had to learn through the process up until we are here to this day. So the original clothing that we came up with, was about honoring yourself, like honoring oneself, right, through expressive clothing. But right now, we are immigrants, and we want to tell immigrant story, and we are Black people, and we want to tell Black people's story. And on top of that, we're trying to make sure that Black people get to invest in themselves and know that they have the power and they have the gift to make whatever they can with themselves. And it's not just about, it's about, we can do anything. It's not just about music and sports and whatnot. We can also be big fashion designers, which is our goal. And we can also be big professors in college, in universities. We can be big pilots. We can be big. We can be presidents. We can be all these things. So that's what we are trying to show, is that it can be done. You just have to believe in yourself big enough, and make sure that you just put your best foot forward, and you learn as you go.
In addition to that, it's also a lot of trial and error, and not giving up on yourself, and consistently, pushing yourself to be better and to challenge yourself to keep going even when it's hard and when you feel like, there isn't a way forward.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for chiming in. I actually was going to ask you, in terms of a business owner, as a female business owner and working with your spouse, how is that? How is that daily grind, or, how is the interaction? Is it, is it easier to have conversations after work, or are you disciplined to separate the work from the personal life? Like, how is that mix?
I feel like our business is so young that I don't think we've reached the stage of separating our personal from the business. I feel like it's just time is limited, and we're on the same team and we have to talk about certain things. But it's actually been really wonderful to be able to work together. You have someone that loves you, but that also encourages you and believes in you in a way that you might not get elsewhere, right? It's like that person has love and care, and they do everything with love and care, which I think is a privilege. And I think, the challenges do come in when roles overlap. But I also feel like we do a good job of identifying, what my role is and what his role is in our business, and trying to figure out, where we can complement each other and support each other, but where we can actually also give constructive criticism when it's needed, and where we can build. So I feel like we have a really, really good balance, and we're very fortunate to be able to have that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I want to ask you, since, as I said, we have a lot of female listeners. So I have to ask you, put you on the spot. Last week, we celebrated Valentine's. How has love changed for you as you guys are endeavoring upon this business together? How has love evolved? How has your love evolved for Yema?
Absolutely. So I think through Yema, our love has evolved in a very deep manner. And I think we've been able to experience love, not just on the surface level, but on a level that is much deeper. And it's been beautiful. And we love love. I think we live for love, and our clothes is love, and everything we do is touched and felt with love. So yeah, I'm a big champion of love. I think it's great.
I love it. I love it. I think those stories are so imperative when we talk about the backstory, right? And we talk about the Black experience. We cannot negate, right? We cannot neglect the love, right? And I think because we show up for ourselves and show up for our spouse, we can create successful brands, right? And it's just finding that mix. So Yema, the same question for you. And this is a safe space, so you can be brutally honest. How has your love developed for your beautiful wife?
I think because, like I said, we've been learning for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So has the love, right? Because no two in our business, no 2 days are the same. So we've constantly been learning about each other. I've constantly been learning about her. And, when I try to learn about her, it's like I try to understand her needs, and basically how we can just keep complementing each other. And if I recall, like just a few moments ago, you asked about some of the challenges, is that, because we are a couple and business owners at the same time, and husband and wife, there is no time for, okay, now it's just like time for chilling. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we're chilling, and then I'm like, oh, babes, I got a new design. I gotta put it on paper.
Right.
So it's like just constantly like creating, loving, creating, loving. So I love this way, because we don't have, like a defined, period of time saying, okay, no work right now. Okay, no love right now. No. Even
really?
When we are at work,
Yeah.
we are loving up on each other, which is like, we love it that way. And so I feel like I've really, really grown to love my wife, my co-founder, my co-partner,
co-collaborator.
I've really learned to love her, because it's been such a beautiful journey. And the more we grow, the more I love her, just because I know, the effort that she puts into the business, and I see how hard she works. And, I love her mind. I love her beautiful energy, and just, everything that she does for the business. So it makes me love her even more to see every day the kind of strengths that she brings onto the table, and just her energy and her being as a person.
God, I love it. I love it. You guys are making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
It's making me feel very warm and fuzzy as well.
Yes. I love it because you know what? It's not a facade. Like I literally experienced you guys and you're so warm. I was checking out your online and your reels and how you guys make those TikToks. And I just love it. And I think it's a really perfect example for millennials that we can do it. It is possible. Like you can build businesses with your partner. But I think the key is like-mindedness, right? Respecting one another, right? And honoring those commitments. And you guys do it very well. So let's go back into the mission as we wrap up. Let's talk a little bit about the mission, because the mission is definitely imperative for our listeners. When people shop with you guys are providing 20% goes back to your organization. Is that correct? Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So every time someone purchases an item from us, we donate 20% of the proceeds to a scholarship fund that will then be able to pay for educational ventures for both kids in Ethiopia and Kenya. And we've been doing that throughout the whole history of the brand. We actually started out by donating 100%, and that was kind of the mission at the time. And as we evolved and we opened brick and mortar stores, we decided to go ahead and donate 20% in order to help cover overhead costs and everything. So that's kind of what we do with our business, and it's really fun. Our designs, like I said, are very bright, colorful, beautiful, but also speak in quality, speak with messaging, with motifs, and very deeply rooted in the African culture and African heritage, from the colors to the designs and the patterns. So I feel like it's very much a Black experience. And we're Black-owned businesses, both in California. It's a very small town known as Tiburon. And in New York, we're in Soho, and we're right on Mercer Street. But again, one of the only Black-owned businesses on the street as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful brand.
Beautiful brand. I want you to explain, what is the significance of giraffes in your culture?
The giraffe, when you think about the giraffe, you think about Africa, the motherland, right? They do very well. They do very well there than anywhere else in the world because of the weather, because of the environment, because because of the trees that the giraffe eat. So we wanted to use the giraffe as the representation of who we are, to show, one, the motherland, that's where we come from. Number two, the giraffes are very tall. And we are in this country, we stand tall, we take up space, we don't hide, we are bright, we are bubbly, so to show that, hey, we are standing tall in this space, in this moment. And then the giraffe also has the largest heart in all land mammals. So we wanted to build a brand with a large heart, because the kids are our mission. So to show that the animal with the biggest heart, which represents the brand. And then Yema, the name of the brand in Amharic means mother, okay? Because mothers in African setting, they are revered. Mothers have the biggest heart in the world. They are the backbone of the society. So we want to see, okay, because we mother kids through the brand, that it's befitting to call the brand mother, and then have the logo for that be the giraffe. So
beautiful.
That's the significance with that. Just to showcase the originality, where the founders are from, the mission statement, and to wrap it up by, hey, you gotta take up space like a giraffe, especially if you're Black. Don't be afraid, do not cower, and do not be afraid to let yourself loose and to show the world your true gift.
I love that. I love that. My goodness. I got to bring you guys back on, honey, because this is powerful. I'm so honored that you guys really obliged and came on this podcast. I think it's so needed to have this conversation, and it's such a well-balanced conversation. So I just want to publicly thank you so much. And I know we have you in New York, and we have California. So I'm really grateful for you guys carving out time, and thank goodness. So, as we close off, right, we are on exclusively on the Daily Gospel Network, and we cannot wrap up our conversation without speaking about faith. I think throughout our entire conversation, we spoke about faith, right? But I wanted to ask you, before we even get there, I wanted to ask you, from being Black and Africans, right? And I'm also Caribbean Black, right? How does Black history, how do you celebrate Black history? Or what does Black history mean to you?
Absolutely. Black history is creativity. Black history is who we are. Black history is what we stand for. We're Black designers, so we are living and breathing it. And we're also here to empower, to give Black people a hand up, so that we can continue building and we can continue striving together. So I feel like it is truly who we are as people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
And also, like, in addition, I think that, we are standing on the shoulders of giants. There is people that have enabled us to be here and to exist in this space, in this moment, right? And those are the icons that we talk about, during, the Black History Month. And, right now, like, we have stores in predominantly, white areas, whereby, when you think about 50, 60 years ago, this would never have been possible. So when you talk about the history, you're looking at the present, because the history shapes the present, and that's something that, we should never forget. We are enjoying these gifts right here because of the people that came before us and the people that fought tooth and nails to enable their descendants and their generations to be able to do things that they were not able to do before.
Yes. That's so profound. Not to segue too far from what you just said, Yama, but I literally spoke to someone who said on contrary. Someone said to me that I just got here. I have no concern as to what happened prior to, me being here. So all I can focus on as a Black person is me now and how I can be better. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the past shapes the future. Are you kidding? Absolutely. We don't live in the past, but we have to honor the past, learn from it, and then we move forward, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's, oh my gosh. So you said it. I'm so grateful. This is so full circle. Thank you so much. You guys, as we end, thank you. As we end, as I said, we are exclusively on the Christian Gospel Network. I wanted to ask you, how has faith shaped your belief? How has faith kept you in the game? And how has it motivated you each and every day? How has your faith inspired you to continue to press forward?
If I start, I think, we are here also because of faith. It's the Most High's blessings, that's why we are here. And, we know that there is a divine energy watching over us, and, there's a divine energy that is guiding us. And I think it's the divine energy that gave me this beautiful woman, and to be able to share this space and this goal and this mission and agenda with. So I'm very, very grateful. And, not a day passes by without me, like, blowing kisses to the divine energy and saying, hey, it's Most High, I'm here because of you. And I'm so grateful for all these gifts that you've bestowed upon us, the gift of creation, the gift of love, and then the gift of having, a wonderful woman in the game to be able to do this with.
Yes.
Amen. Absolutely. Amen. I feel like our life is filled with gratitude, and every day we see it, and our path is always guided. And it's been wonderful to live in that. And they say God is love, and I think we've truly seen that God is love, and that is why we live in love.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us on the Chop It Up podcast. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your mission, your work. I will definitely come out and buy something and support as well. Thank you. How can folks follow you online? How can we support you?
Absolutely. You can follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is Yema Calif, like California. So YEMACALIF. You can also visit our website. We're at www.yemacalif.com. That's YEMACALIF.com. And yeah, come visit us in our Soho store. We're on 26 Mercer Street in New York, New York. And we're also in California, 10 Main Street in Tiburon, California. We hope to see you at any of those channels.
Yes.
And thank you again for bringing us on board and doing this podcast. It's incredible work. And I think what you're doing is really, really awesome.
Thank you so much. I do it because I love it. I do it because we need to share our stories and we need to collaborate more. Thank you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to more podcasts.
Yes. Okay. We're going to do something, of course. Yes. We're going to do a big event in your store as well. Your New York store.
Are. Yeah. Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Yema. Any last words?
Mine is just to show my gratitude. Thank you so much for coming to the store and blessing us with your presence. And then number two, thank you so much for bringing us into this platform and for the beautiful work that you do. And personally, I love your bubbly energy. And it's so beautiful usually when people come to the store and they have a beautiful energy, because that's what we are about, you know. So when you see our tagline as our tagline is good, joyful, human, because we want everybody to be good and joyful and human. And just, you know, to treat people like that, you know what I'm saying? When you're a good, joyful human, you're going to treat people with love. You're going to treat people with kindness, with dignity, with respect. And you're not going to look down upon anybody, you know, because we are in this journey in this world, you know, and when the journey is over, you're going to be remembered for something, you know, and you want to be remembered for the goodness and for the light that you put out into this world. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and for coming to the store. And I'm so happy and grateful that we are connected.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you guys, you speak to my soul. Let me tell you, this podcasting is not easy. Putting together this episode was not easy at all. And it's so beautiful. You know, we talk about 222, right? We talk about alignment, but honestly, there is something to be said about alignment. Like when I met you guys, my spirit just, you know, it just kind of like connected. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak to you. I've always wanted to have these conversations. So I am blessed to be provided with this platform, and I am blessed to share with so many creators such as yourself. So it's an honor. Thank you so much. You guys, thank you for listening to the podcast, Chop It Up. This is such a powerful episode. This is the way that we ended for Black history, Black excellence across the diaspora. So we just want to thank you so much for our listeners. I see the numbers increasing. I see the analytics, and I just want to thank you so much, you all, for really championing us. And follow Yema. We're going to provide all their social media contacts online. And so please follow them. Please patronize their business, because again, it's about paying it forward. Thank you so much. God bless you. And it's a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for joining us on the Chop It Up podcast.